Welcome to Build, Grow, and Enjoy, the BGE Radio Network this week here on buildgrowandenjoy.com. Also, JiggyJaguar.com. We're doing a Skype video for our YouTube page as well. We've got a great guest with us today on the line. I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself, then we'll talk a little bit about why she's here. Go ahead and jump in there, my friend. Give us a brief introduction on yourself.
Well, my name is Marilyn Redmond, and I live here in Washington State. I've been a retired teacher, but now I am into metaphysical aspects of life and have taught in colleges, adult education, and many spiritual programs for various classes in metaphysics and personal growth. And I also do counseling and consulting, and I'm an international writer and speaker and consultant. So I keep very busy, and I do a lot of work as far as I try to get the word out, messages out in this new book that I've written, The Real Meaning of 2012. It's a new paradigm for bringing heaven to earth, and it's now in paperback. I have quite a few ebooks on Amazon.com, and this was in such demand they wanted it in paperback. So it's available both ways now, so people can check out. I also have a lot of YouTube videos. I do programs of various kinds, and a lot of my other interviews are on YouTube also. So if people are interested in other topics that are related, they'll probably find lots of answers on YouTube or my website, which is angelicasgifts.com. And I have a new blog on Blogspot, Marilyn Redmond at blogspot.com, and my books are available on there too. So I have a pretty big presence out there for the most part. I enjoy doing what I do. I love to help people.
We've got Marilyn Redmond with us today here on the program. She joins us live. She's the author of The Real Meaning of 2012. What inspired you to write this book, Marilyn?
That's a really good question. I have a unique talent where I hear spiritual voices, and when I was channeling one particular day last year, and that channeling is actually on YouTube, I was giving this information to people that were interested, and I was told to write the book through Spirit, and lo and behold, like less than a year later, the book is in print, not just ebook. It was information that people have not necessarily been aware of, so that they could change their lives into being a happier life, more like what they really want instead of what they're getting. And so it was kind of like a simple description of changing the dynamics of how we look at ourselves. And it's a very helpful book for all those that are open to spiritual growth or personal growth and wanting to improve into a happier way of life instead of the one that we've been conditioned to from fear.
Marilyn Redmond with us today here on the program. She joins us live, coast to coast and border to border on Build, Grow, and Enjoy. How does your book parallel your life, and how is it different?
Well, that is really quite a story. I could spend a long time on that one. Well, how it's the same as my life was I was in deep despair. I found myself in a domestic violent marriage of 30 years, needing to get out because he was trying to kill me, and I was so depressed I tried suicide. I actually had a spiritual experience, is why I'm sitting in this chair today, and through that experience gradually came into 12-step programs, which are spiritual in nature, and I have learned through the process of other metaphysical programs and books also what I was doing wrong, so I can literally do it right or do it in a way that's going to be productive. I've discovered life is about cause and effect, and when you change the cause, you get a different effect. So that's what I've done with my life. Instead of living in despair and depression and being a good victim, I also won an international writing contest with an article called I Am the World's Greatest Victim. So I have come out of Victimsville, and this book is to help other people come out of that space too, where we don't have to react from fear. Today I get to respond in love. I have changed from being in my head to my heart. And I actually do feel like my life is heaven on earth today. I have found how to do that transition, and I'm very helpful and want to help others do that too. So the difference is, I'm actually living what the book is saying, so that's a little tough. The difference is, I guess, that I would like to see more people appreciate and enjoy and be able to apply this information. So many people are still looking for answers, and I believe that this is an answer that will work for most people if they want to have a lifestyle where they're really happy inside, have a happy heart, instead of so worried about finances and so worried about housing and job security, personal security, or insecurity. I've learned to overcome those things. And so I'm not living in that space of lack, and I have self-esteem today, which I never had before, which is a marvelous place to be.
Marilyn Redmond with us today here on the broadcast. She's the author of The Real Meaning of 2012. She's also a psychic, channeler, and personal coach. She is with us today on Skype, and also we're going to be putting this video interview up on our YouTube page and on our website at jiggyjaguar.com. Summarize the book in just a few sentences for us, Marilyn.
Well, it's a marvelous way to be able to succinctly understand the dynamics of our life. We're spiritual beings or energy beings, whichever words work best for you, and to raise our energy from fear into love. So we don't have to stay in the low consciousness of fear, anxiety, depression, guilt, shame. We can actually move into a higher consciousness of unconditional love, which is our birthright. So it's possible. I've done it. I know other people have done it. It's not commonly known, and so hopefully this book will share that information so others can do it too.
We've got Marilyn Redmond with us today here on the program. She joins us live on Skype talking about her great book. What's the overall theme of the book?
Well, the overall theme is we've bought into fear, and it's actually an illusion. We don't have to believe and buy into it and react from it anymore. We can actually move out of fear. We can start responding in love for yourself and for others. And this is our inheritance as our being created in the spirit of love. So if we do own our own love, that is who we truly are, we can share that with others. And eventually, when enough people are doing this, we'll be in such peace with ourselves, we will truly bring peace to earth, and it will be like heaven on earth. So there's a song called Let There Be Peace on Earth, and let it begin with me, and this book really shows you how that can happen, and it will create the need for people to put down their arms and their weapons and see how we're all one in the same spirit of love, and we don't need wars.
We've got Marilyn Redmond with us today here on the broadcast. How did you become a psychic? What was the moment that you knew you were a psychic?
Well, it was a gradual evolution. I, through the 12 steps, started meditating. And as you meditate, you go into an altered state, which is a higher consciousness, where the fear is no longer blocking the truth from you. And the more you meditate and move into higher states of consciousness, you start to have that voice inside, the silent voice, be still and know that I am God. That silent voice of spirit can talk to you and give you guidance. And as I was counseling some people in my career, I discovered I was getting information from that silent voice of what to tell them and what the answers were, and to understand what was going on and how to handle things in ways that I thought, oh, this is interesting. That makes sense to me. I just never would have thought of it. So I started hearing voices that were telling me truthful information, and gradually a psychic actually communicates on the other side in the third and fourth dimensions, and as I continued meditating, my connection went higher into the fifth dimension of unconditional love, and so therefore I also moved into higher information, which is what this book is about, where I hear voices from ascended masters. Jesus was an ascended master. Archangel Michael speaks through me. Mother Mary, Jesus. And so these higher voices of ascended masters are trying to get the message out to people of how everyone can bring their life into a place that is much more sustainable, because fear is not sustainable. You keep digging the hole deeper and deeper, and we could stop digging.
We've got Marilyn Redmond with us today here on the program. She joins us here on Skype for Build, Grow, and Enjoy. We're also going to post this video interview on our website at jiggyjaguar.com. Now, Marilyn, explain the difference between a psychic and a channeler.
Well, a psychic is a form of channeling. The sounds, the voices come from the beyond the veil, or the other side of those people that have passed over. And people that have passed over are in different consciousness, just like we are here on Earth. So a psychic is speaking to the consciousness of those that are passed over, that are third dimensional, which is what most of planet Earth is, and also into some possibly higher people that have evolved spiritually. A channeler, in my opinion, of my definition, channels higher information from those that have a higher consciousness, more of a God consciousness. Well, probably the most famous channeler, but he didn't call himself one, was Edgar Cayce, and a lot of people are familiar with Edgar Cayce's work. And there's other people that channel, such as Esther Hicks, who does Abraham. There's a lot of channelers out there. We're trying to spread the message of love.
We've got Marilyn Redmond with us today here on the program. Now, was this your first book, or have you written books in the past?
Oh, my first book is also on my website and Amazon.com, and it's called Roses Have Thorns. It's actually the chronology of how I got to the place where I am now. It's the desperation and abuse I went through growing up and in my marriage, all the medical problems, addictions, and things I went through to become now clear, sober, and alive in a way that is unbelievable, instead of being the walking dead. So the book chronicles the experiences I had in a poetic way. And the book also has my own illustrations, because I'm also an artist. I do commissions, and I see angels because they've kept me alive. And so I also paint people's angel portraits. And so I am also do other artwork too. So my first book is a real big book, but for people that are involved with spiritual growth and personal growth, it brings up the emotions necessary to identify with, so they can say, I'm not alone. I have other people on this path with me that are trying to grow into being more mature, and it's okay that there's other people out there like me trying to go through these. It's not, growing up is not for sissies.
Now, Marilyn, tell us a little bit more about your latest book, and why should people go pick this up?
Well, my latest book goes through the dynamics of what third dimension is about. We have been raised in a planet of duality, where we've had right and wrong, good and bad, criticism, judgment, all kinds of ways that are critical, judgmental, to put us down and keep us as good little robots, you might say, or victims, and not being able to really be ourselves, because we're so controlled and manipulated by this kind of mentality. And so I explain the physical world, and we're very much ingrained into what we touch, feel, see, smell, and the five senses. And so many people feel this is the real world, but actually it's an illusion. The real world is the invisible great reality within. And so when we are distracted in the physical world, we actually lose our focus of who we are, and that we were created in spirit, a loving spirit. So I explain more about the third dimension that we need to outgrow and move into changing our, excuse me, our emotional life from the fearful basis of our society that has taught us very much of how to be afraid of this, afraid of losing your job, afraid of losing your house, afraid all kinds of insecurities and lack that we've gone through. And we can move into an attitude where that we know that we're sustained in love, always have been and always will be. So we move our consciousness up into that loving level of higher consciousness. I have several charts in my book that show this like a scale of consciousness and how it affects us. And when you change your life from the fear, it's called being spiritualized or being more loving, being more real. We understand those dynamics better. I explain what the changes are going on, and are you ready to make a change to move your life into being better? So it explains how you can overcome the ego. The ego creates the fear in our lives, and we don't have to be under its influence. We can actually see the illusion it creates in our life and move inward to the truth of who we are. So as we're moving through fourth dimension, eliminating more and more of the ego and adding more and more of love into our lives, we actually have the possibility, this time first in history, to move into a consciousness of unconditional love, which we call fifth dimension. So I explain the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions that we're going through. And in doing that, we grow up. It's called maturity. Most of us have been running around like little 2-year-olds throwing temper tantrums. That's what anger's about. Didn't get my way. And so when we realize that we really can have it all, we give up our ego to get it all. So instead of hanging and clinging on to things that are just an elusive manifestation of fear and something solid, we give up that solid part, knowing that what's really important is the love inside of us. And that's the enduring thing that lasts through all of our lives. So that's more important than hanging on to something that's material, but our eternal being is a loving soul that has everything given through the grace of God. So life is really heaven on earth when we overcome the appearances of the material, move into the invisible of the spiritual love that is in our lives and always has been. We've just had a veil of fear to cover it. And the book has affirmations for living in love and a poem I wrote that brings that together. I feel it's like a little handbook to understand how we can change our lives. And my next book is going to give the actual details on a very how-to basis, actually make the changes and not just tell you that it can, but to give you explicit information for doing that. So this book is a precursor to more definitions and more examples and real hands-on information. This is kind of like the beginning of what we're planning to do. More of us in this life is raise ourselves into that love that we want, which is peace on earth, and living in that framework where we're all cooperating together and helping each other. And we're not, I did not get raised in a family that loved me because there was mental illness and alcoholism. And today I have people around me. I've created a new family of love, and it's marvelous to have those kind of people around you. I think everyone would like that. So we can do it, and I'm showing people that it's possible, and I'm hopefully giving people directions of how.
We've got a great guest with us today. We're going to wrap up here with Miss Redmond. I appreciate you being on with us today. Thanks for coming on. Before we let you go, give us some of the websites where we can find you at, my friend.
Oh, wonderful. My website for all my different hats that I wear is Angelica's Gifts, ANGELICASGIFTS.com, angelicasgifts.com. I also have a lot of YouTube, so if you go to YouTube and just put in Marilyn Redmond, you'll find my channeling. You'll find lectures on holistic health, domestic violence, all kinds of other topics that are available that I talk on. You'll find a lot of my work on Marilyn Redmond at blogspot.com. And you'll also find my books on Amazon.com. I put in Marilyn Redmond. There's another Marilyn Redmond, however, on Amazon.com. So when you see The Real Meaning of 2012, A New Paradigm to Bring Heaven to Earth, you'll know that's the right Marilyn Redmond. But I also have other ebooks that help with personal growth through various ways that we need to expand our lives into the love that we really truly deserve and is our true inheritance. So yes, I'm in a lot of different places on the internet, and if you just put my name into Google, you'll find articles. I have all kinds of articles out there for the public in various aspects of our lives to help everyone as much as possible have answers. And if you're interested in readings or counseling or consulting, I'm on my website, angelicasgifts.com. You can reach me at Marilyn@angelicasgifts.com. I'm always glad to help anyone that has an interest in a question and wants some answers.
Well, Marilyn, I appreciate you making time for us today. Thanks